What we doing in Milton Keynes then?
Just having breakfast in Milton Keynes, and then we're going to Bletchley Park, hopefully for the whole day.
Find out about TURIN.
Code breakers during the Second World War.
Must be quite a good place to visit, so should be alright.
The weather was a little bit better, still raining.
It's July, and yesterday we went to Leighton Buzzard. The weather was absolutely terrible, raining heavily all day and all evening. The good thing was we went to Wetherspoons at the night and we just happened to win the pub quiz, which was good.
And that's paid for us a meal tonight, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it on now?
Hello. Morning.
You're here for Bletchley?
Yes.
Been here before?
No.
No problem at all. So head straight to the bottom, go round to your left for parking.
Yeah.
Green door's just there, top of the steps, main entrance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Messages. The wolf packs are sniffed out. December 1941. Japan attacks America at Pearl Harbor and starts a bloody campaign in Asia. Earlier in the year, Germany has invaded Russia and, together with Italy, staged a rapid advance into Africa. This is truly a world war.
That's strong signal, whereas this is much weaker. Yeah. You can take a shot if you want. So if I came on, you can see that. Much rather to here.
Then you can practice at home.
The mansion you would have seen if you come here in 1939. I'm no expert, but I have been told that there are about 15 different architectural styles in the mansion. And as you can look at it, you can pick those out from the green dome to a little bit of colonnading on the side. And Sir Herbert Leon, who lived here, was a great philanthropist and a traveller. He was a member of Parliament, very influential chap, did a lot of travelling. So when he went across to Europe somewhere, if he saw something he liked, he'd make a few sketches on it, come back and give that to his architect, and say, I'd like something like that, please. And this is how Bletchley Park, the mansion, grew organically over time. Some people like it, some people think, well, it's not Versailles, is it? Anyway, 1939, this is where MI6 and Government Code and Cipher School moved. MI6 on the top floor, and the Government Code and Cipher School spreading amongst the canteen, the library, etc. on the ground floor. Very few people here at that time. They soon expanded out of it. And we'll see later on at the huts and the blocks where they went to. Commander Dennison, who, as I mentioned, was in charge of Government Code and Cipher School, his office was in the ground floor underneath the dome. He was a very quiet, intellectual, arm round the shoulder, man management type fella, not at all like the fella you saw yes, that's the one, with Charles Dance, who was actually quite an aggressive Scottish sort of fella. Commander Dennison was nothing like that. And because of that, actually, he lost his job in 1942 because he wasn't seen to be the guy that could be in charge of an intelligence factory. He wasn't that sort of person. But he was very amenable. One thing, you know, he did not believe, he wasn't convinced anyway, that the Enigma codes could be broken, but he was very happy to try. So he was in charge of Government Code and Cipher School.
What did he hope he would achieve here then?
Oh, well, he had every hope, but I don't think he had the belief.
I see.
Until he got people like Alan Turing coming along and actually probably proved him wrong. But he knew that he had to have people working here that could attack those codes. And he had good contacts with Oxford and Cambridge through him and his deputy Travis. And so they created a list of people that they wished to target to come here to work as code breakers. And if you go into the drawing room in the mansion, on the wall there in 5 sections, you can see a display there of how those people were listed out and interviewed and so on and so forth. And that list included Alan Turing and Gordon Welshman, people like that, but it also included J.R. Tolkien, who didn't actually make the grade. Whether he decided not to come or whether he didn't pass the test, I don't know, but he obviously went on to do other quite important things. So those people of the professorial type were brought in first, not just mathematicians, but obviously linguists, because people had to understand what was being said, but also classicists who had an idea of breaking into Egyptian papyri and that sort of thing, and musicians, because they could understand how the flow of information changed, and that was a similar sort of flow of logic that you'd find in decrypted messages. So people, as I say, from all sorts of backgrounds who were brought here as code breakers. They were doing the high-end code breaking stuff. They needed a lot of people here to do the admin and the typing and the sorting out. And again, early in the war, who should we get to do that? And Denniston and Travis went out to the nice families, the good families in the country, who had well-educated young daughters, probably had linguistic skills as well, and they were brought in here, the Debs, the initial people that brought in here, because they could be trusted, couldn't they? Because they were good families. Whether that's true or not, I'm not quite sure, but that was the thought behind it. Later in the war, when things got busier and we needed more and more people, they just went out and they recruited whoever they could from whatever source. And that was where MI6 or SIS at that time were communicating with their agents in the field. And they had agents spread around the world. They were operating under the guise of passport officers and so on and so forth. But it was soon realised that if you're sending a lot of information from a place like that, it was fairly visible to the Germans. You could intercept the messages.
It's very hard It's dawn, and thousands upon thousands of Allied soldiers are standing in landing craft, heading for the beaches of Normandy. Their officers have told them what they'll be facing, almost exact details of the defences they're attacking, and how they're going to beat them. But how do they know that? The answer lies a long way from the front line. But victory on that front line, in fact, victory in Europe, depends on it. In 1944, Germany dominated Europe. From Poland in the east to Brittany in the west, from Norway in the north to Greece.
Get lit up when the lights go out in London.
Job up, girls. At last. Well done. Strip the machine down as fast as you can. You're moving on to the next menu.
Job up, Amy. Prayers answered. We got the right settings.
By 1939, these pathways were getting more complicated. British progress, hard work by the Poles, frustrated by the changes the Germans made. In a race against time, a communications arms race, a race to save lives, the number of pathways a key press could take through an Enigma machine was greater than the number of seconds since the universe began. Yet TURIN started down a path, a new approach to finding the single correct route among all the others, not working alone. One signal among many, the work of engineers and cryptographers, without computers, with logic. To build and adapt a machine would follow through the day's clues and discount millions of impossible pathways, leading someone, on a good day, back to the instructions, the weather reports, and those few words that might save a ship, spare a city.
Get back to it this, won't we? Cheers.
What you learned then about TURIN?
Very, very interesting place to visit. Highly recommend it. I think they were like the unsung heroes of the Second World War.
What surprised me that there was 9,000 people were up there. I thought there'd be about 100 or so.
And none of them slept in. They all were billeted around the local areas.
Yep.
People had no choice. People said if you've got a spare room, you're going to have somebody who works there. It was interesting.
Pity they hadn't got the Colossus machine. They destroyed them all for some bizarre reason.
I thought they'd never want them again, but obviously. Yeah.
And that was the forerunner to the modern computer. I mean, it was a massive machine, but forerunner to how things progressed.
Then you realise how many lives they did change by the naval information, saving the submarines. They knew where the U-boats were going to be, so they could make sure that our boats missed them and everything. It was right. Very interesting.
It was good.
Highly recommend going. It's definitely worth a visit. Now we're in Wetherspoons.
Second Wetherspoons, then Milton Keynes. This one's a little bit out of. Well, I don't know. Milton Keynes is a bit weird. It's all
car parks,
roundabouts and car parks. Yeah. I mean, they didn't have Plum Porter, which is a bit of a downer, but we've got a free voucher, so not too bad.
I say Milton Keynes is a very strange place. I've just never seen so many car parks in my life. It just seems to be carpeted with car parks.